Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you all join us again for yet another insightful session at the Mental Health Symposium that's proudly sponsored by Prime Unique Women Initiative, PUI. We're always happy when we see people join us from different parts of the world for this very germane and timely program. We call it germane and timely primarily because of the feedback that we receive every time, especially after the end of sessions such as this. We receive thank you letters, we receive thank you notes, we receive inquiries, and sometimes we receive disturbing and concerning messages from concerned people who are either directly affected by mental health issues or who have loved ones, friends, family members, colleagues that are directly affected. And this is part of the motivation that we have to continue to meet here 2 times every month to address real problems, to address real concerns that real people have, and to see how we can contribute our own little quota towards improved quality of life for more people. I am very happy to see some familiar names. I'm very grateful that most of you could join us timely, early enough, and we really appreciate that. Again, it is my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you. Of course, we cannot kick off this program without recognizing the presence of our president and founder, the person of Dr. Folake Yoba. She's the brain, in fact, the muscles and the skeleton behind this entire framework, behind this entire initiative, the Prime Unique Women Initiative, particularly this bi-monthly program where we, as a form of giving back to society, address real problems that real humans face. Please join me to welcome Dr. Mrs. Folake Yoba, so as she welcomes all of us officially.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, we can hear you. You're welcome.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, good evening, everybody. We are glad to have you here today again. Like you said, I'm Dr. Folake Yoba. I'm the president of Prime Unique Women Initiative. And we are so passionate about the welfare of women because we believe that if you touch the life of a woman, you've touched the lives of so many members of the family. So what we're discussing this evening, as usual, is on mental health. And we are all stakeholders in this. And we should actually all be concerned and be interested in this topic because you don't know if the next person to you actually has mental health, some sort of mental illness or not. If you don't know how to identify or you don't know what it means, you wouldn't just understand what we're talking about. You know, it's so important for us because we have been told by the World Health Organization that over 40 million Nigerians actually have mental health issues. And what that simply means is that if you have the gathering of 4 persons, 1 out of 4 has mental illness. Isn't that alarming? Shouldn't that bother us? Should we just keep quiet and watch? We don't want this to degenerate. We don't want it to get worse than it is now. We need to be able to take people out of this situation to a better situation that will be better for all of us. Because if you say you are not bothered about the next person who has mental ailments, you might be the victim the next time. And you don't know, it could be a child, it could be a loved one, it could be your neighbor, it could even be yourself. Because one of these, some of the programs we've held, we've been able to learn that anybody can actually have a mental illness, one form of mental illness or another. Because it's just like when you have malaria or you have any other form of disease, but this time it's in your brain. So it's very important. We appreciate you being part of this program. And we also expect that you continue to be with us fortnightly so that we learn a lot. And right here with us, we have very, very sound people who have actually cut their teeth in having the adequate knowledge to be able to educate us and let us understand what this means, what is mental health, what are the situations that we may be facing in this line, and how do we get out of it? How do we identify? What are the solutions? We have quite a lot to talk about today. And so I'm going to introduce a very amiable, lovely, beautiful woman who is a lawyer, and she's Dr. Nina. Dr. Nina, please take over from me and please do justice to this program while we join you in between, okay? Are you with us, Dr. Nina?
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. I'm here, ma.
Okay, thank you. Please take over from me. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, good evening, everyone. So I want to appreciate everyone for joining this program. So I'm going to go straight to introduce our speaker. Rukaya is here. She is married to Professor F.D. Omosakin. If I pronounce it wrongly, please pardon me. She's a public health professional whose area of interest are mental health, adolescent health, women reproductive health. She has a BSc in biochemistry, master in public health, and she's also a trained gender-based violence advocate from Institute of Human Virology of Nigeria. She's also involved in several humanitarian work, especially on health, mental health, and substance abuse awareness. She's currently a volunteer health coordinator of Nigerian Red Cross in Kuje Division. She's a member of International Society of Substance Use Professional, ISUP. Also, she's a member of Occupational Health and Safety Association, OSHA. And currently, she works with the Nigerian Correctional Service. So please do join me as I welcome Rukaya. I don't know if Rukaya is here. Unmute yourself and kindly take over.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Barrister Nina, good evening. Good evening, Ma. Dr. Folake Yoba. It's my pleasure to be here with you this evening. My name is Rukaya Raji Omishaki.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So I'll go straight to the point. I'll be talking about the effect of poor mental health on quality of life. Mental health is as important as the physical health. Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to their community. Poor mental health refers to the alteration in thinking, mood or behavior associated with these stresses and impaired function. And what is quality of life? Quality of life pertains to an individual comfort. Please, the host should scroll for me, please. I'm trying to scroll from my end. Good quality of life pertains to an individual comfort and ability to engage in everyday life and the enjoyment that comes with the life events. So the mental health, the quality of life, the physical health are interrelated. The physical health controls the mental health, while the mental health in turn controls the physical health to give rise to the quality of health. The concept of mental health is an integral component of health and wealth, and wellness and individual collective abilities to make decisions, build relationships, and shape what we live in. Mental health is a basic human right. Mental health is a public health problem. The determinant of mental health. Throughout our lives, multiple individual, social and structural determinants may combine to protect and undermine the mental health. To shift our position of the mental health, we have the physiological aspect of mental health and the biological factor that could affect the mental health, such as the emotional scale, substance use, genetic makeup. So some families tend to have a problem of mental challenges in their family. So there are chemicals in the brain that control the stability of mental health, which are the neurotransmitters. So the genetic makeup of some family tends to have a low secretion of those hormones, which makes them vulnerable to having an altered mental health in their life. So especially to unfavorable social and economic, geopolitical and environmental circumstances. Taking Nigerian as an example now, being a Nigerian alone is one reason why we should have an altered mental health, because of the stress we are open to in our everyday life. You know, families can no longer cope with the economical inflation. There are so many problems in Nigeria that people cannot cope. So being in Nigeria makes you vulnerable to have an altered mental health. So we have causes of poor mental health. Some main causes of poor mental health is childhood abuse, trauma, neglect, social isolation, and loneliness. The childhood abuse, some children grew up in an isolated home. They don't grow up with their biological parents. They tend to face bullying, you know, nutrition, they have low nutrition level, neglect. This thing affect their mental health. In the US, there's a research that said that money mental health problem started as early as age 14, which means that what happened in your life during teenage, during your childhood, has so much effect on your mental health as an adult. Social isolation and loneliness. And the social isolation, let's take an example of the Japa syndrome in Nigeria right now. You know, every youth try to run away. The syndrome of Nigeria is not working better, we have to relocate. You are so used to your family members in Nigeria. You are so used to neighbors. You talk, you hang out. Just all of a sudden, you move to a different country. You know nobody there. You might even face problem of racism. Your neighbors doesn't know you. You don't talk to anybody. You know, at a time, your brain started having low secretion of those hormones. Nobody to talk to, and they run into depression. Some even, you know, have so much mental health issue that turn to mental illness. So, and the social disadvantaged people in poverty and debt tend to have a less stable mental health and bereavement, losing someone, growing up, being a carrier of caring for people with terminally ill disease. Like take for instance cancer, people who care for cancer patients for a long time might grow up to have PTSD, post-stress traumatic syndrome disorder. So this PTSD comes to them that whenever they become allergic to hospital, they become allergic to ambulances, they become very sad, personally sad in their life. So the severe long-time stress, going up and down, looking for what to eat, it makes the chemical in the brain to have you know, imbalance. So, and having a long-time physical health condition like diabetic, hypertension, obesity, makes them to, you know, have this kind of low self-esteem. They don't appreciate themselves, and inferiority complex makes them to have an unstable mental problem. So, and the physical stress and psychological stress, they have they may appear the same, but they are two different things. But if you didn't take notice of what is going on in your body and you don't even know how to diagnose yourself, the physical stress may appear that the muscle is tense, you're tired from a stressful day. But when you are undergoing psychological stress, you are easily agitated, you get irritated, little thing just gives you anger, like transfer of aggression. We have this thing that people that work in some particular industry are very angry, are very sad, they are rude, the bankers are rude, the nurses are rude. It's as a result of the work stress, the everyday workload they have, no rest, it accumulates in their brain, and they lost, you know, they lost motivation. The dopamine level in the brain goes very low. They lost motivation, they lost happiness, they became naturally angry. And it happens in the marriages too. A lot of marriages are crashing. And if we look through it, the causes of why marriages are packing up and going into divorce is because of mental health. Because this is African. When you have mental health problem, people don't believe you. They said you are possessed by an evil spirit. So you get easily angered, and this mental health issue seems to affect women more than men. Why? Because women are at less disadvantage, even in terms of income. Women are low, they need support, they don't know what to do, and even in times of emotional, stress. When a woman has a heartbreak, it tends to affect the woman more than the man, because men are naturally, superior to women in terms of emotion. They can go out there and look for another wife to marry, another person to fall in love with. But a woman has to be around, a woman has to stay while the men come for her. So this disadvantages makes a woman more mentally unstable, and the hormones fighting with her during pregnancy, all that. So please let me go to the next slide. The effect of poor mental health. Poor mental health can result in low self-esteem and low self-esteem and inferiority complex. People we know before that are very active, it can even be among our family members. They are socially active, they go out, all of a sudden they are into their shell. They activate their social media, they don't talk to people, they feel this kind of sadness on them. So the anxiety and depression, which is the most common mental health disorder in everywhere. In the US, about 1 in 5 adults has mental health problem. The unemployment goes with depression and anxiety. The effect of poor mental health means if your mental health is not stable, you cannot even get employed. You cannot be employed because you cannot perform your daily tasks at work. Some employers are so harsh to their employee that they don't even take into consideration what they're going through. Your employer that used to be very active at work all of a sudden cannot complete his or her task in a day. So you need to speak up to the person, have a time, quiet time, and ask the person, what is going on in your life? And substance abuse is so intertwined with mental health problem. It's either the mental health problem leads to the person to become a substance abuse, or the person is abusing substance that destabilize the mental health. So business, when you don't end up being homeless, in self-harm behavior, then the mental health maintainers. To help maintain a good mental health, we have some tips that can actually help this hormone to be stable and the brain should work well. Exercise, aerobic exercise, just a little workout, walking 20 minutes walk by foot, don't drive, enter the bus, the public transport. By just interacting with people, it can actually make the person mental health to be refreshed. Then mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, living in the moment. People who has unstable mental health tends to be forgetfulness. They may easily forget little tasks. They may not even remember to brush their teeth. Their oral hygiene might be so bad, they may forget a little task in a normal day that they can actually, perform so easily. So the 8 hours of sleep, though in Nigeria, is very, very difficult to get 8 hours of sleep because we need to get to work, you come back late and all that. So you have to cook. If you're a woman, you have to cook. If you're a man, you have to stay on the road traffic. So many things can hinder your sleep, 8 hours sleep. But you can still help yourself to get enough sleep sometime by switching off your phone and try to rest the brain, because the brain itself is a living brain. It's a living being. It's like a computer. So say positive things to yourself about yourself and others. Thank God. Even if you don't believe on religion, just say, oh, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful for people around me. I'm grateful for health. Then the expressing gratitude is what the religious people use in guiding their clients not to fall into depression. Because when you wake up and you express gratitude, oh, I can wake up, I can walk, I'm grateful. It refreshes the brain and gives the brain hope. And this chemical that is serotonin, which is the happy hormone, and the dopamine, which helps in the mood, in coordination, we really feel refreshed and at a maximal level. So you make new friends, go out, participate in humanitarian activities, participate in activities you enjoy, find ways to learn and be creative, learn new skills, no matter how easy the skill is. Spend time in nature, wear bright colored dresses, look at the bright side of life, look at the nature, the green leaves, the forest, and be happy. Please, next slide. The mental health care and treatment. This is the most important of the mental health, the quality, how it affects the quality of life. In the context of the national effort to strengthen the mental health, it is vital not only to protect and promote the mental well-being of all, but also to address the need of people with mental health. What we are doing right now is what I'm doing now is like awareness, awareness on how to live a healthy life, not to have an unstable mental health. But there is also need to address the need of people who already have this mental health condition. This should be done through community-based mental health care, which is more acceptable than the institutional care, help prevent human rights violation, and delivers better recovery outcome for people with mental health condition. I'm going to emphasize on this because the mental health problem now is in Nigeria. Sometimes I receive so many calls. I have a family member with an unstable mental health. I don't know where to go. Okay, and referring them to a tertiary institution, national hospital, psychiatric hospital, they may feel discouraged. So the mental health should be at the grassroots level, the primary health care. The primary health care is the foundation of all care, which because the rural areas where there are no access to tertiary health care, the primary health care can serve as they serve as their doctor, they diagnose, they treat, they preach for prevention, and attend to their psychosocial need. This next slide. So this should be through the community-based mental health care should be provided through a network of interrelated services that comprises of the mental health services that are integrated in great general health care, typically in general hospitals, and through task sharing with non-specialist care provider in primary health care. Community mental health service that may involve community mental health centers and teams, psychosocial rehabilitation, peer support service, supported living service, and services that deliver mental health care in social services and non-health settings, such as child protection, school health services, and prisons. I will emphasize more on this because I am a correctional officer. I work at the correctional center. So I could tell you that being an inmate, staying in the vicinity of prison for 2 days or 3 days already has altered the mental health, because you are restricted of your freedom. You are going to be there, away from your loved ones, away from your comforts. And what happens when you come out? The stigma. How do you pick up your life? How do you stay? How will people refer to you? How do you fit back in the community? So the mental health of every person that have been to the prison, either serving a jail time or when you have to await a trial, has already have an altered mental health. So the WHO Mental Health World Health Report, Transforming Mental Health for All, calls on all countries, urges that all countries can achieve meaningful progress towards better mental health for them, which is one, deepening the value given to mental health by individual communities and governments, and matching that value with commitment, engagement, and investment by all stakeholders across all sectors. to reshape the physical, social, economic characteristic of the environment in homes, schools, workplace, and the wider community to protect better mental health and prevent mental health conditions. In the workplace, it's very important to have a gathering, like a lecture day, maybe during break time, for people to talk about mental health, because people spend most of their time at workplace and they have bad mental health, sometimes maybe due to bullying at work, bad boss, rude under other co-workers. So it drives them crazy, but they have no one to talk to and they don't know which way to go about it. Very often people are referred to see a psychologist and they don't go to see a psychologist because they felt they are not mad. So the key fact here is affordable, effective, and exists to promote, protect, and restore mental health. The need for action on mental health is indisputable, but it's urgent. Mental health has intrinsic and instrumental value and is integral to our well-being. Mental health is determined by a complex interplay of individual, social, and structural stresses. Conclusion: mental health is critical, important to everyone and everywhere around the world. Mental health needs are high, but responses are insufficient and inadequate. Poor mental health impact negatively on overall health and well-being and affects our lives in many ways. The need for change has been recognized, and the benefits of change are clear: reduced suffering and improved public health, stronger protection of human rights, and better social and economic outcomes. It's okay not to be okay. I tell everyone it's okay not to be okay. You need to seek help. You need to take a break. You matter. Your life matters, and don't give up. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rukaya. Thank you very much. It's very insightful. So we've been talking about this mental health issue for a very long time, and today I promised that we're going to have a very short insight, powerful, and then will give us time to ask questions, because we have been doing this thing all over and over again, and because of time, some of us come back with the feedback that we don't give them time to ask questions. So Dr. Folake now said, okay, in this section, we're going to give out time for people to ask their question. I mean, what's the need if we all come into this kind of program, which she has graciously organized every 2 weeks, and then we will not be able to express ourselves? So we decided to make this section a very short one, and then it's going to be very interactive and wait for people to ask their question. So please, if you have any questions, something you want to talk about, kindly raise your hand or even ask the question in the chat room, please. If you have a contribution, you have comment, you want us to talk about something, please kindly go to the chat room or you raise your hand. But while you are getting ready to ask a question, something happened last week. I was driving from the market and then I saw a woman who just rushed into the road. I don't know if she deliberately wanted to be crushed, or she was not thinking. I cannot just understand. But I've watched series of videos and I see people who just deliberately go into the main road to be crushed because they are tired of life. They are not they don't have anybody to talk to. Last week, I referred some people to Rukaya. The lady said she's tired. She wants to commit suicide. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Dr. Nina, but I'm ending this. And I just told her, wait, I need to send you to Rukaya. And I think, Rukaya, I don't know if you remember this lady. And then she came back to say, yes, she came back to say, okay, she's happy. I don't know why she did not want to speak to me as a coach, probably because she think I know her. And this is one of the problems we're having. We are having issues, but we don't want to talk to people we know. It's fine, it's okay. But I think because we don't want the person to judge us, there are things probably she does not want to tell me I don't know that part of her life, and then it is hurting her so bad, and she cannot say it because I will judge her wrongly. So it is okay, like Rukayat said, it is okay for us not to be okay. If you think you don't want to share your problem with somebody that knows you, please go out there, look for someone who even does not know you. Just let it out, because I believe that the moment we are letting these things out, the better we are becoming. It's better than piling up everything. Like Rukayat said, it is mostly with women because the society has given this form of stereotype. You don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about my marriage because I'm coming out there and everybody think I'm a role model. So I've done 16 years of marriage. Some people are looking up to you. How can I even come out and tell them my man is abusing me? How can I tell them that I'm the one feeding this family? What are they going to talk? Are they going to gossip me? Are they going to use me to preach? It's fine. Don't just put all that problem in your head. Look for someone, a neutral person. But then, Rukayat, I'm wondering, I don't know if I've ever seen something like mental health organization, strictly for mental health, if there's any provision for just this kind of services in our hospitals or in the correctional center. Because last Saturday, I had to park, we all parked, people were shouting at the woman, they wanted to beat her. The driver was abusing her. No be me go kill you. Winch, go and look for, I told the driver, because of this program, I've been in this program severally. I told the driver to wait. We called the woman and we asked the woman, what is the problem? Do you want to kill yourself? She said she was backing a child who's not even up to 10 months. And she said they've not eaten since morning. The child have been crying. There's no food. And I said, where is your husband? He said the husband sells cuisine. And where he used to work as a gatesman, they chased him out. People have several problems. I also have my problem. Just recently, I've been thinking, I said to myself, I have goals I want to achieve, but I'm not achieving these goals. And then I was telling my husband, I think I want to run away, just the Japa syndrome. I want to run away. I want to move to Canada, probably. This Nigeria is not working for me. Because you have a lot of bills, you have your own emotional need, the children's school fees, house rent, and the money is not even getting enough. We are coaches, you don't get salary like every month, salary is coming. You have to go out there, you have to talk to people, you have to go look for training, you have to look around and know how to sort yourself. And people don't even know this. They come to you on Facebook and they're telling you, oh, Nina, you are my mentor. Nina, I've not eaten. Nina, we carry people's problem. And our own problem is weighing us down and we don't even know who to talk to. So this will even affect you as a woman. It will also affect your sexual life. You don't even want to go intimate with your husband because you don't feel it. You have a lot of problems. And then you become very agitated. The man talks one thing, because of the whole thing, you are shouting, you are just snapping. So only men that, if that man reacts to you the same way you are behaving, it causes a lot of problem. You see, there become problem. Both of you start fighting. So, but some men who know these things will wait, hold space for you, and then come back and ask you what the problem is. And then this is the time husband and wife need to sit down and encourage each other, because the woman too is angry, the man too is angry. You have bills to pay. You are not telling the children what is going on. It is not their fault. So the economy in Nigeria is crazy at this time. And the people who are looking up to us, every day you have bills. Every day you have SMS. People from village think, oh, you are in town, there's one tree somewhere that is bringing money. And they are bombarding you with a lot of calls that is even affecting your mental health. That's even affecting your physical health too. So it is just okay. If you can't help people, don't kill yourself. It is okay. I tell people what you can do, do it. The one you can't do, leave it. Somebody asks you for money, a family member, please, I don't have. You can't go about trying to solve everybody's problem because you are going to kill yourself. And the moment you kill yourself, they keep living their life. Life continues. Even at your burial there, they will come and start dragging food. They don't even care. And life goes on. So it is okay not to be okay. I'm sorry, I can't do this for you at this moment. I am hopeful that I will be able to do this thing in future. We need to start prioritizing our own health. Right now, if you think you are working too hard, take a time off. Money is not everything, even though money is very necessary. How do you work from 7 a.m. in the morning, you work till 11 p.m., 10 p.m. Saturday, your laptop is on. You are typing, you are still working. Take a time off. If anything happens to you right now, we all know the story about Herbert, the Access Bank MD. How long did it take for him to replace him? You know that story. Access Bank just quickly brought in a new MD. Life goes on. So if you are overworking yourself, overstressing yourself, thinking of how to solve this problem, thinking of how to do this thing, you want a new car, you want to do this, you want to buy new clothes, and you're going out of your way, you want to solve everybody's problem, every family member's problem. Take a chill pill. Take a chill pill. Take care of yourself. Close that laptop. If you don't work Saturday, and if you are an entrepreneur and you have liberty not to even go to work some of the days, sleep off your phone, have a good time, eat whatever you can afford. You cannot kill yourself by yourself, what Nigerian people will say. So I think I've spoken enough. I've talked too much. And so if we have any comments to say, please, we'll give you some time. We still have some time. Felix, I don't know if you're still here. If you have something to say.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Nina.
sure. Go ahead, please.
Okay, please, I want to answer some of her questions about if there is any, program put in place on this kind of mental health in hospitals, in correctional centers. Yes, in hospital, there is a psychology, department and psychiatrist department. But fortunately, that is the last diagnosis that they do in the hospital. Someone come with, I cannot sleep, I cannot eat. They'll keep doing, they'll have to start from doing malaria tests, different tests. So when it gets to some stage, they're not like, I'm referring you to the psychology unit. And the patient pick race and go back home and said, psychology, I'm not mad. Why do they want to refer me to a psychology? Because a lady once spoke to me, she told me that demons are possessing her. She wakes up in the night, she starts panting, she cannot wake up, she can't stand up, she can't do what she used to do, she's adding weight, she's having a lot of problems, she's scared. I told her that your mental health has to be checked before it gets into something that you cannot control. You need to be on medication for your life or be in a rehab. She said, no, that is a spiritual problem, that she has been going to different things. I have to take my time, preach to her, talk to her, and make myself her personal therapist before she was able to be okay and understand that this is a mental health problem. Then in our correctional centers, we have like some of us public health officers, the psychologists and psychiatrists who tends to counsel the inmate, talk to them about when they come in, and sometimes when about serving their jail time, they take time to talk to them on how to live their life. But we have insufficient hands everywhere. I'm sure everyone understand me that this is Nigeria. So this thing has to go on community based, like people who do NGOs specifically, let some of them have specializes on such mental health so that they can go to the grassroots and help people, go to such places and help people. People who are widows, they don't only need, our donation of items and food. Sometimes some widows just need a therapy. They just lost a loved ones. What they need is therapy. And we have insufficient psychiatric hospitals and so that's the answer to that question. And we have to be each other's therapists. people that attend such symposium that have knowledge of mental health, when you go home, talk to your friends, talk to your sisters. Is that your sister that have stopped calling, have stopped doing what he or she used to do before? Go to them and talk to them, because people who live in the village tend to have better mental health than us that stays in the urban city. Because in the villages, if your neighbor doesn't see you open your door today, they'll both come and knock at your door and say, mommy, bless you, what happened to you? Are you okay? They will serve as your sister, they can help you cook or clean your house, and you'll be okay. But in the urban cities where you don't even know your neighbor, nobody talks to each other. So you can be dying inside and nobody is there to help you. And sometimes we don't even tend to have a walk. We don't trek. We all drive to our offices, come back late, go tomorrow. We just eat junks, load our stomach, our head with junk, sleep, So all this is really putting us in an unstable mental health already. Thank you.
Thank you, Rukaya. And also, I'm thinking in our workplaces, the employers they are just about making you become productive, and they don't even care what is going on in the life of their employees. So what aspect or what strategy do you think these employers should put in making their employees more productive? I think apart from trainings, strategic goals and all that we do in our companies, it is also high time that employers will also produce this mental health and how it affects our productivity. What do you think about it? Please,
Yes,
Faith, can you mute your mic?
there's what we call mental health at workplace. It's a course on its own and it's so vast, because we tend to spend most of our time at workplace and we retire at 60 when we are close to our old days. Then at that time, our mental health has been altered so much that people run into depression, schizophrenia, and so many other mental illness. So my advice to employers is, let them have a time. It shouldn't just be a work time. Maybe in 1 hour, let there be a brain game, something that refreshes the brain, because some persons sits down in their office with the laptop till 5 p.m. before maybe the gate man come and said that manager everybody has closed. Are you closing? He took his bag and go back home. So I think people should the employers, which are managers or owners of companies, they should have a time that this one is for like brain work. Let people has a brain game. People can do some extracurricular activities without just work for 8 hours, 10 hours every day. Because when you say training, like in occupational health and safety, we campaign that people should the safety of your worker, the health of your worker, their mental health. But those employers don't really even take it into consideration, because even them, as the owner, the CEO of a company, they don't even know their mental health. Their mental health is so unstable. They are just looking for money that they don't even have time to take care of their mental health. So I suggest, and I am urging it to the general public, let the campaign of mental health be just like that of polio, immunization, vaccine, tuberculosis, diabetes, high blood pressure. The way we sit down and talk about high blood pressure, diabetes, let us be talking about that, and let us not be, ashamed of talking. It's very, very good not to be okay, but the best part, who to confide in most time is a stranger. Most of my clients, I don't even allow me to meet them physically, because by the time I meet my client physically, they have this kind of shame. They may not be able to vent to you. That's why you see people that have mental health problem, their family cannot easily help them, because there are dark room in that. There's a vacuum in their brain that need closure, that they may not want that family member to know, and maybe that family member will be judging them. So they need a total stranger. You can imagine you'll be going in a public transport and somebody will just start venting on you. Do you know my wife is this? Do you know my husband is this? Do you know this is what I'm going through? And immediately they are able to vent to you like that, they feel relieved, because you don't even know them tomorrow to go and judge them. You don't know anybody related to them. So I advise that the CEOs, the managers, they should have a timing, like a brain game in the office. It should not just be about, because even when you have a stable mental health, your productivity is so high. Whoever has an unstable mental health cannot complete a simple task at work. You see some people, they can't even remember the figures. They can't even do 2 times 3. They tend to forget because they're having unstable mental health. Thank you.
Okay, so my final question before I give back to Felix is this. In our home, last week, was it this week? I was telling you about how my son come back home and he enters his room. He's very secluded. And then I just felt probably he's an introvert and all that. So, and you were telling me to also enhance conversation. And I also noticed that you are an adolescent coach too. So how do we notice on time, like you've said, that children or adults who tend to have mental health challenges are kids that it might start at the age of 14. You said that. So how do we start checking up on our kids? I know mental health, some ladies with mental health can be as a result of abuse, sexual abuse. Sometimes too, we parents, we tend to abuse our kids by shouting, and we don't even know, bringing down their confidence, and they grow up becoming timid adults. So how do we also check out these things early enough in our children?
At age 5, a child is able to know shame, is able to know facial reaction. So when you have like 2 children in your house, you have 2 kids, you have to monitor one may be a shy person, introvert or extrovert. One can just come up to you and tell you that someone hit me in school, someone mocked me in school. Then while the other one may just be showing it as a reaction. You just come that day, decide not to watch cartoon, and you just shout at the person. He may decide not to eat his food or her food at the dining table and go inside the room and have his or her meal. But instead of you just shout at the person that, why you shout at the kid that, okay, why didn't you eat your food? You made me make this food. What you need to do is you call that child inside the room alone, not in the presence of other siblings. You are going to ask that child, how are you? How are you is so big that if we tend to know what is how are you, we'll have to take our time to listen to the person. So he's going to tell you, I'm fine. You're going to ask him or her, how was school today? Do you love your new auntie? Do you love, who are your friends in school? Give a listening ear and a shoulder, and making sure to know that even if he fails, it's okay. Even if he decided not to go to school tomorrow, it's okay. He might be in a bad mood. Like trying to be their confidant and not trying to judge them. I'm a coach of gender-based violence. And people think when you say GBV, they say rape, sexual molestation. No, that's just one aspect of gender-based violence. You can be violated without knowing. Not growing up with your parents, you grew up in a house that you're always scared of your parent, your foster parent, is a violation. Someone bullying you, verbal abuse, looking down on you, telling you that maybe the kid is black, you both parents are fair and he has a dark skin, and you always try to mock him or her in the presence of your other children, is going to be in his brain, and is going to suppress some functioning of the brain till adulthood. And children who grew up in a house where the parent fights, they fight a lot. He watched the father batter the mother, he watched the mother so much verbal abuse on the father. They tend to grow as an adult as sadists. This thing tends to affect them in the long run. They have PTSD. This PTSD is whenever they are in an association in a relationship or in any other environment, and the person tends to shout at them or shout at anybody close to them, they see it as an attack. The brain already told them, flashback immediately as an attack. They feel tremble. Some people get scared, and while they are scared, they may try to harm that person because the brain has told them that attack. This is an attack. The adrenaline will shoot up and they'll be scared. So those kind of children that grew in such home, toxic environment, in an environment that while going out as a teenager, some boys try to touch them inappropriately, they saw children smokes, those things goes to that brain and stays there and form PTSD. So when they grew up and they find themselves in similar environment, the brain says violent. And you know, I was having a menstrual hygiene talk in a public school recently. So when after I advised them about menstrual hygiene, the HSS1, SS2, the teenagers, the adolescent, because adolescent is the most difficult mental health. They struggle with their mental health. Imagine you are all a child, bath with you where you are naked. Sometimes all of a sudden breasts start growing. You are a guy, a boy, all of a sudden you start having wet dreams. They don't even know how to take care of themselves. They become confused and they need someone to vent to. And most often the parents are so busy. The teachers are not there to talk to. They become sad. They become so sad to themselves. And when those hormones get so depressed, it can even lead to long-time infertility in their life. You see, a child now will be like a young lady with 20 years and stop menstruating, enter menopause, because those happy hormone, the serotonin, the dopamine, the motivation hormone, and all those hormones are what's happy that aid reproduction, the menstrual function, goes to the pituitary gland and push the estrogen to work and all that. So at the end of the day, those things develop diminish. They start going low. It affects them in fertility, in different aspects of their life. So those girls come, I know they will be shy to ask me questions. I know, because they are teenagers. What I did, I told them that when I finish this talk and I go inside my car, you can come and meet me and hug me and say goodbye to me, because I know some of them had something to say, but they couldn't tell me then. So when I go to my car, I realized that they heard my car, plenty of them came. They started telling me their challenges. Some tell me that the 3 months they spend in the boarding house in school like this, they don't see their menstruation. I said, who have you tell about? Have you talked to anyone? I told my mother shouted at me. I told the teacher said when I go home, I tell my parents to take me to hospital. This is enough to disrupt their mental health, because one, they will be scared. Is it I'm pregnant? I don't know what's going on in my life. So I now have to advise them, tell them so many reasons why their menstruation can be scanty, due to undernutrition, stress, so many things about. But if those children live like that and they don't have anyone to share it with, it has already disrupted their mental health, and they grow up like that. They grow up like that, and nobody to vent to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I have a question for you. Maybe it's be of benefit to others. At what point or how do you draw lines between mental and spiritual challenges in mental health?
Okay. In medicine, the spiritual aspect is not really discussed in medicine, but most time the sign and symptoms of spirit being involved, because in the 1940s, anybody with mental illness is said to be possessed by a spirit. They tie them down, they beat them, they do so many invocation, spiritual stuffs for them cleansing. But when the scientists are researching more, they discover that some of those are actually a mental health problem. That is why the psychiatric aspect of nursing and medicine come to stay. So the most time, the spiritual aspects, seeing spirits, the schizophrenia, some of the symptoms of mental health, that's mental illness now, when it has developed to mental illness, like the hallucination, schizophrenia, if not managed well, that means the brain has already go out of hands, because the brains are mesh work, like a neurotransmitter, like a wire work. So when those wires were trying to shrink, there was no help at that time. So those wires can decided to scatter and splash like an electric shock. So this thing has already scattered. It turns to a full-blown mental illness, which requires not only counseling, but medication, treatment, so many therapy before it can really be cured. But in terms of the spiritual aspects, I will not really know what spiritual aspect means because medically, we don't really believe spiritual aspect is a religious belief of spiritual aspect. So, but many times when people say they are being disturbed by spirit, half of it, most time, is actually a mental health problem.
Okay. So in essence, what we are saying is that when we have somebody around us who thinks that he or she is being attacked by spirit, it could actually be a mental health challenge. So we need to pay attention to such ones and seek for medical attention, not necessarily spiritual. Is that what you have told us now?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you now, because there is a good example of a lady that had a heartbreak. She could not control her emotion anymore, which is a poor mental health. So she started going out dirty. She won't bathe. She barb her hair. She will not eat. She talk irrational. She can face somewhere and be talking to the thing. Everyone thought is a spiritual problem. It's gene at the northern states believe it. So do you know when I was able to talk to them that it's a mental illness, what happened before she became like this? She was her marriage was close by and the guy just left her. So she could not recover. At that time, many people may be judging her, whereas what she needed then was just a medical help. She needs to be on antidepressant to boost those serotonin and the dopamine to make her happy. Because when people are depressed, even if you put them on a night of 1,000 slaps, they will never laugh. Because the happiness hormone is already diminished, it has gone down so totally that they don't even find anything happy, they don't find anything positive. So most of the spiritual problem, like symptoms of mental illness, may be, I am not 100% sure because I don't know I cannot prove their spiritual word, but most time is a mental illness. So we have to work more on our mental health awareness to the grassroots level. We have insufficient help on mental health, very, very few, and the needs are enormous. The people that need help are much, but the people to help are very few. We have few psychologists, we have few psychiatrists.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And again, I just want to add this. People who need help those who need help, most of them don't know they need help. So how do we want to let them know? How do people get to know that they truly need help? What should they do regularly to discover if they need help or not? Because so many people have all sorts of mental illnesses and they don't even know. And that explains why WHO has said 40% of Nigerians, the number is so humongous that I get worried and scared. That means out of 4 persons going on the streets, 1 person has mental health challenge. But they don't even know. Even when you tell them, they don't know. So what do you advise? Both parents and even the parents and the children or anybody.
From my presentation, we need more awareness to the grassroots level, community based. Not only the only psychiatric places we have psychologists are tertiary hospitals. Caregivers. So let's go to the grassroots. Do what is big about immunization. Let's take mental health. Let's make it a public health problem. Let's make mental in prisons, in hospitals. Do I have such a symposium, a gathering like this? You look at people that are coming to me like, oh, do you know I have those symptoms? Now I know what's wrong with me. The other day I was so sad. I was having headache. I was throwing tantrum to my husband. I was throwing tantrum to my wife. Imagine now that everything is hyped now. You call your husband that there's a need of 50,000 naira in the house. He's going to get angry. That anger alone, you'll be so angry with the wife, and it's as a result of stress. So if in the US that life is more comfortable, 1 in 5 person has a mental health problem. talk more of in Nigeria, where life
Felix, are you there? I think we've lost her.
Yeah, I think we have a comment from Mr. Clement. Could you please hear you, sir?
Actually, there is not. I wanted to ask a question, and it's just unfortunate she's off. But Nina, you are there, and I believe this question justice can be done to it. We are looking at mental health, and majorly in Nigeria, we have a major problem. The major problem of depression. You know, many people are depressed. I would like us to throw more light into the triggers of depression and the remedies of how we can come out of depression. It's something very, very germane, and Nigerians need to know this, and many participants in this program need to also know the triggers and the remedies of coming out of depression. Please, can we throw more light into this, and let's see where we are.
Rukayat, are you there? Are you back? Okay, since she's not back, I think the remedies, the triggers for depression is one, we think we are having so much expectation, and that is what brings depression. You are having unrealistic goals. You know that goals cannot be achieved. You know it is unrealistic. And then another thing I think that causes depression is competition, unnecessary competition. You want to be like someone else, and you don't even know how that person is tending to survive. You don't know the process of that person. Another thing is, okay, Rukayat, are you there?
Yes, sorry, it's a network problem.
Okay.
So
okay, let me rephrase Mr. Clement's Mr. Clement's question. He's asking what triggers depression and what are the remedy. I tried to answer it, but I think you can also take over now.
okay, the triggers of depression are, number one is poverty. Poverty, like all of a sudden you become poor, you cannot really meet up with what you needed to do in life, and losing someone, being bereaved, you lose a loved one, you know, you cannot, you find it difficult to get over the loss. So that's why when people lost their loved one, what we should do as a friend and family is to try talking to them. If any in 2 hours you didn't hear them talk or you didn't hear from them, check on them, make sure they are talking. Then make sure you invite them for exercise, something that take them out of their shell. It can be genetic. There are 4% research that said that depression can be genetic. There are some family that when they get up to 60, their brain started not functioning well. They just become sad. That means the quantity of serotonin, dopamine, those neurotransmitters they have in their brain is very minimal. you know, some people, we call them sadists. On a normal day, they hardly smile, they hardly laugh. It's just their way of life. It means those people lack so much. Those hormones are so minimal in them. So any little trigger will make those hormones to go very, very low. If not, you know, they'll just go into extinction. And the problem about depression and mental health problem is it can even lead to paralysis. Yes, people with mental health problems, it can get so bad that they've started losing their sensation, nerve problem, headache, gut problem. Serotonin on its own controls some gastric motility, which makes someone to have a good taste and swallow food and eat food. So when they don't have this hormone is going low, they tell you, I cannot eat. You see people lost their loved one or lost their job or lost something, go into heartbreak. Before you know it, they cannot eat again. So there are so many triggers.
Okay. While we're at it, I think we still have one more question. Oh, we lost it. Okay.
Even relocation can cause depression. Going to a new environment, change of social, you know, is just changing of environment. Go to places that you know nobody to talk to can lead to someone to depression, joblessness.
Okay, Felix, you were going to say something because I also have something to say. Could you go on, please?
Oh, yes. Mrs. Amuda had a question, but I don't think she's on the call at the moment. She raised her hand before, Mrs. Amuda.
Okay, while we wait for her to come up, I remember that like about 2 weeks ago, one of the speakers actually told us about the relationship between our guts and our brains. That what we eat can go a long way to determine how our brains work. That sometimes even what we eat could somehow push depression or any other ailments of any other mental ailments. What do you think about that, okay?
Okay, the chemistry behind that is, you know, just I talk about junks, I talk about guts. So there are, you know, the green leaves vegetable, the fish oils, the carrot that contains vitamin A, then some of the alkaloids like the turmeric, those things that enhance the brain function, like onions, vegetables, all everything. It enhances the brain function. It makes the brain to be refreshed. They are like cleanser to the brain. So they cleanse the brain. So, but when you are the type that takes junks, processed food, all those food that contains estrogen, canned food, processed food, they went to block those places. Instead of refreshing the brain, it keeps blocking it, which can actually be a trigger to depression. Not a direct trigger, but it makes you unhealthy, that not the brain is accumulated, it's not refreshed. You know, the vegetables, they are very good, they are vitamins, they cleanse the eye, they cleanse the body. So there are specific vegetables and foods that are good for brain. So when you end up eating junks in the reverse, if the reverse is the case, so you notice that those junks, when can get accumulated and send people to countries like the US and the UK, they tend to have this kind of mental health because most of the things they eat are processed food. So they tend to have mental health problems so much over there. So we can tend to, you know, while giving people tips on how to improve their mental health, the diets listed are always green vegetables, vitamin A, fish oil, that's the omega-3 oil, fatty acid, then the exercise, ginger, turmeric, those kind of plants that cleanses the body and cleanses the brain, and living a healthy lifestyle generally.
Thank you so much. I think Mrs. Amuda is there now. Would you speak now?
Okay.
Please unmute yourself. Or can you hear me? I'm not hearing you.
See,
unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself and speak.
And while she's at it, I think Madam Grace also had something to say. Okay. On Nabajo, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Good afternoon or good evening. Actually, it's afternoon here. I understand. I just saw what you just said about the factors that actually contribute to depression. It's important and very imperative to discuss the factor of it. Most of them are intrinsic, meaning, and also you have external factors. You have a lot of external factors that are contributing to depression in Nigeria right now because of the economy and how things are going. So it's very, very important that we address that. And also the intrinsic factors, take for example, like postpartum depression is very real. Postpartum depression is extremely, extremely real. And I'm not sure that is even talked about in Nigeria at all.
Yeah.
You know, what women have babies, they have babies and they turn around and kill the child, and they hate the child and they hate everybody around them. And sometimes they even contemplate, they think about killing themselves too because of depression. And these are all hormonal. Those are all hormonal. So when if you can categorize them as intrinsic and external factors, and then you can actually pick on the different intrinsic factors and also all the external factors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Onebanjo. So you are very right. You see, postpartum depression is just like a neglected topic in Nigeria because when a woman put to bed and after 2 weeks or 1 week or few days, she becomes to hate the child. She feel like throwing the child to the well. She feel like killing herself. She don't talk to anyone. She keep to herself. Everybody hates her. People said she's not happy to see them. Even her husband may not understand her. So those are some of the topics that we need to create more awareness like this. And we need to, go to places, organize an awareness campaign and talk about it to the grassroots. Because you can't go to the villages in the part of FCT now and any other part of the state and try to explain to them that it's okay for a woman to give birth and want to commit suicide. That it's okay for a woman to give birth and develop psychosis. They have postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. They're going to see that is a bewitchment, is so many things, and a lot of women lost their life in this kind of situation because the people around them does not understand what is going on with their life. So I really get you about the external factors and the intrinsic factors. So I really hope we keep doing this more. We take each topic at a time. Maybe we talk about postpartum depression as caused by mental health problem. We keep taking it at a time. Every 2 weeks we have such thing, and we have to go to the grassroots too. Many of us here in this symposium are enlightened. We can actually even pick our phone and Google what is mental health. But there are so many people in our communities in the rural areas that doesn't understand, have a knowledge of mental health. You go to spiritual homes, you see people accumulated there. They said they are possessed by spiritual. They are possessed by a spiritual husband. I tell some people that it's very okay to have sexual urge. But when a girl said they dream in the night, they have sexual urge, they said they have spiritual husband. So those are the norms we have to break. We have to break some culture, what people believe in Nigeria, and we have to keep having something like this. We have to organize widows, we have to organize market women this time around, not only by donating, giving them gifts, but by talking to them in the language they understand and how to seek help. During the gender-based violence, the gender-based violence is a way that we make a database report that the person will not even know, the name of the person will not show. You're just able to report that this happened to me. We treat a topic like that in gender-based violence. This woman is being violated, abused by her husband. We try to do a recovery, linking them, settling them. What happened? We realize that this man is jobless. This woman is jobless. So this man cannot even meet up with the financial need of the house. There will be problem. And when the wife tried to talk, the man battered her. So instead of going through divorce, why don't we reconcile them, engage them, provide the wife a skill on what to sell or whatever to do to be making money of her own, and make the husband engage him into some skill acquisition program. Then in that way, we keep going through the feedback. We have a recovery and feedback chain. whereby we keep checking on this family. Are they still having issues in their house after getting a job? You realize that some people's problem is finance. Most time everybody tell you they have a mental health problem, and if you dig deeper to know what is wrong with them, is they are broke, they need money. And this is a country where being a graduate doesn't even, make you to get a job. It doesn't really give you a job. It doesn't make you to become somebody of what you want. You keep roaming down in the street, and those people get depressed, because how can you, go to school for 5 years and you come back without having anything to do? So there are a lot of things to do about it. So I think we have to be having a topic at a time, like Ms. Oneban just said. Pick some topics, because women are at the receiving end of mental health. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Grace, could you please go ahead with your question? And then Mrs. Amoda as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, sorry, my voice is actually cracking. I don't know if you can be able to hear me. But like the speakers mentioned, going to grassroots, talking to people about this mental health is very, very important. And one way we can also do that, because like what I've heard today, that it's not only the older ones, the younger ones too can also have this mental health because of the problems they are going through. And so going to schools, going to organizing this program, going to schools and meeting with teachers, head teachers, the principals and all that, so can also go a long way, because they are going through this too. And when the students disturb them and all that, they also feel very bad. And because of that, the reaction on people and also on the students too, they react negatively. So apart from going to maybe parastatal health centers and all that, going to schools too also assist, because that's where we find most of the students where they are having this problem, so that this can also be handled when they are still young, so that by the time they start growing older, they can be able to know what mental health is and the negative effects on them, and they can be able to know things they can do so that they can be able to remedy this.
All right, thank you. So a question is raised about the interrelationship between menopausal syndrome and mental health. Yes, that's another great topic. That is why you see at every time women are the receiving end. Menopause alone is so much big problem to women, and different people, different body takes menopause, accept it differently. Some people during menopausal, premenopausal syndrome, they keep having, so their brain, because the estrogen, the hormones that were always coming every month before has stopped. They start having leg pain, start having headache, they start having a lot of problems, and they need therapy too. We have to have a topic too, and that topic will just be on menopause, how to deal with menopause. Everybody run away from menopause, I know, because when you tell people, when you go to a gathering and like, I want to talk about menopause, nobody will raise up their hand that I've reached menopause, I'm at menopause. And menopause is such a great thing. It's like you have to show gratitude that you actually you pass your reproductive age and you are okay, you are healthy. So menopause alone brings mood swing. Just the way when younger girls just started menstruation, they tend to have mood swing, a lot of hormone playing with their head, such as menopause. So people have to prepare for menopause the way they prepare for pregnancy, because it deals a lot on their head, it makes them feel low, it gives a lot of symptoms, and so many people have different symptoms. Some people, menopause might be easier for them. Some other women, menopause might not be easier for them. In this menopause time, they need a lot of different vitamin, calcium, a lot of things that they need to support themselves. And they need a listening ear. Some people in menopause, they don't even have sexual urge again. The sexual urge diminishes as they get to menopause, and their husband keep complaining, marriage keep crashing. So the mental health is so important that even I could say mental health is more important than physical health, because most of the time mental health is the brain, it controls the physical health. Thank you. Ms. Onabanjo, you can speak, please.
Yes, yes, you're very right. So the menopause is another intrinsic factor. and that's actually a result of a heavy duty shift in hormones. When you have the hormones, you've been used to this amount of hormones, and all of a sudden you have a shift, because menopause is about a shift in the hormone, in your hormone level. So when you have that, you go into that cannot be treated by just telling the person you'll be okay. You probably need to replenish the hormones externally, given medication, giving that person the hormone back until that person crosses the bridge. It's not just to say, oh, you'll be fine. My other thing is the school. When we are talking to the children in school, it's also okay to carry the teachers along, because the teachers are usually the first to see that this child, they used to be very out there, just really very sociable, all of a sudden becomes withdrawn. Then it's up to the teacher to recognize that and go and find out why. A lot of these things, when a child becomes depressed, usually my thing is what's going on at home. Something is going on at home. And also find out if they're sexually molested, because if a child is molested, the child will be depressed. So that's another thing. It's very, very important that we carry the teachers along. Train the teachers to know what to look for. It's not like this child is not talking, is moody, is this and that. Something is going on. When you have a straight A student all of a sudden turn into a C student or a D or an F student, something is going on. And then if we don't pay attention to them, it escalates to the point where the child really wants to take her life, does not want to be in this world anymore. So it's important that the teachers find that issue and then carry the teacher. Let's train the teachers to know what to look for. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not just when a person is depressed, you tell the person, oh, it's going to be okay. Like I mentioned postpartum depression. Postpartum depression cannot be fixed by telling that mom, that new mother, that everything will be okay. No, it's not going to be okay, because it's intrinsic. You have to replenish that hormone. You have to replace that hormone for that person to be okay, and help them until they cross the bridge, because it's a bridge they're crossing. Because you just had, say for example, a woman gets pregnant, has a boy inside, you have the male hormones so they have the two hormones clashing and clashing. It escalates to a very high level. Then the woman delivers. Then the hormones don't exit. The hormones don't exit when the baby exits the body. It's a gradual process for the hormones to leave. So they need help. You may have to put that patient on medication until that person crosses that bridge. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Olibanjo. That you're very right. And one more thing about even most time about African culture is when a woman gives birth, she has no help. She has no help. She still have to cook. I've seen a woman that will tell me, I give birth in the morning, I'm in the kitchen cooking for my husband. Do you know what that is doing to her mental health? This is someone that just passed through a lot of stress, brain stress, 9-month pregnancy, delivery, and she's still stressing. She has no time for herself. And nobody is caring about her. Everybody's attention is on the new child. Nobody is caring about the mother. So all this, we need more awareness and tell them to seek help. Go to hospital and seek help. Go back to hospital and seek help. Thank you, ma. I think someone is.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You've done so much. But Felix, whose hand is up again?
We have Madam Fiat, Mrs. Amuda.
Because we really have to start rounding up now. We have to wrap up this program. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening. Firstly, I want to say a very big thank you to Prime Unique Women Initiative for this platform. I've been following the conversation going on mental health, and it's really an interesting topic. But what I would love to say is, I think this discussion should go beyond the platform. It should become something on we are hitting the ground running with it. to sensitize the society, sensitize schools with what mental health is. And I'm actually a teacher, and I've not actually been in the school system, but I'm still a teacher. And I understand what mental health can do to a child. I've had children with so much issues from their homes, parents, relationship, associations, and it's definitely affecting them, and they have so much fear for the future. And this has to be something we need to carry the banner high in the society. If there could be an opportunity to even involve the government to integrate maybe a subject or a course in the school system where children can be engaged, to express themselves. One thing I've also found out is that the guidance and counseling system in the school recently is no longer existing. The schools are being booked with so many things, so much activity, so much engagement, doing so many Montessori activities that are not helping these children mentally. Some of them want to express what they are facing at home. Some of them want to express their relationship with their classmates and how it's affecting them, but they don't have someone to talk to because every teacher is busy trying to cover up the scheme of work and subjects. And these children are being, confined inside. Some of them have already lost their self-esteem of expression. Some of them no longer have confidence because of what they are faced with. So I think this discussion should go beyond having it here on Zoom, having it on the social media platform, and having it being physically carried out with some support. That's my own contribution. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So I think
Thank you.
our own is like an observation, which is suggestion, which is very valid, which is part of what we have discussed. So thank you.
Yeah, Madam Bukola, do you want to tell us something? Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I just want to say thank you very much for the program. I really learned a lot from it, and I'm so grateful. And thank you, Mr. Clement, for sending me the invite. I want more of this so that I can also share with other women that are in my church and in my office. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you for that. It's important for all of us to learn how to share. When we have knowledge, we don't keep to ourselves. We should share to people. It's very important because the more people we have who are knowledgeable, the better for all of us. The more people are knowledgeable around us, the better for all of us. Charlie, someone is talking. Who is that, please?
Yeah, we're fine now.
Sorry, who? Okay, you want to
We're
find out?
fine. We're fine now. We're fine. We're okay now.
Fine now. Okay, fine. So I don't know, continue to hold this program, but anything that has a beginning must have an end. We can't go on till tomorrow. We really have to go and rest, and tomorrow is another day. But be sure that we'll come up again in 2 weeks' time. But this time around, we all agree that we should. Okay, someone is trying to talk, please. Okay, let's Mr. Okay, Mr. Felix Yoba wants to say something. Please let's allow him, then we'll wrap up. Please, can you go ahead, please?
Yeah, I also wish to thank Dr. Ms. Yoba and Prime Unique Women Initiative for this wonderful and laudable initiative. I however want to say that from all the pointers, we are having a problem here. And the problem I'm seeing is that most of the suggestions that talks about us taking this program to grassroots community levels, as wonderful as they may seem, but where are the resources? This is where I think government ought to have come in. But like other areas of our economy, other areas, of our well-being here in Nigeria, we suffer things like this. I also want to add to the fact that at the National Assembly, where legislations are being made in connection with things like this. They are trying their best, but can those who are advocating, like your organization and others, be able to reach out to them so that they can create a standard platform where a good legislation can be put together, on the position of mental health, and also urge government from the other side to provide funds so that those who are in this can access it. Why am I saying so? Few NGOs are involved in mental health, but how are they accessing their funds? It's unlike before, where they had foreign aids, supporting them. So in as much as our idea will be laudable and well-meaning, the resources might be lacking to be able to take it to those who really need and deserve this. So how can we make the government understand and come in? Just like the women are shouting loud to let the whole world, anybody want to understand their own, welfare, their needs. I think those who are involved too should take steps further to see how government can also be part of this, so that a collaborative platform can really help, so that resources, even private organizations will be willing to donate towards this. Because I'm one of those who feel that if it's taken to schools, taken to communities, it will be well appreciated, because there's a place where you find those who are really in need, of this program. So I am of this opinion that for funds to be gotten, government also have to be involved. Well-meaning Nigerians and organizations also should be involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful. We appreciate you. Barrister Nina, what do you still want to say something?
No, no, thank you.
Okay, I know you cannot finish whatever it is, but surely we're working together. We have enough rooms to talk. And from what we have learned this evening, we need to have a kind of who are committed to making progress on this mental health in different and diverse ways we have been talking about all the while. We need to come together in a different forum from what we are having right now, because this is limited to 1.5 hours and we cannot exhaust everything. So if you agree to that, please leave a message, and then we contact you so that we can continue to plan how to help people around us, because we shouldn't say we are too few. Even one person can make the change, and it doesn't matter how many people we can talk to. Let's just keep doing, because I believe in the old saying that little drops of water make a mighty ocean. If all of us are committed to it, gradually this is going to spread, and it will make meaning, and all of us will live in a better world where you have more of sane people around us. Life will be better for all of us. So we also have we regularly have workshops and programs, both locally and internationally. So, but we have one that is coming up now on this mental health in Abuja. It's going to be a physical program, a workshop, and it's going to take 2 full days. And I know it's going to be more impactful. Well, this is important as well, because every second, as I'm concerned, but we are going to have more time, and the program will be, it will take place in Abuja. We'll also make this announcement that we should actually come up with, all of us can talk further and make plans together. We truly need you to be part of. Like I said, nobody knows who has a mental health challenge. To know, you will not know. You just think you are living a normal life, doing this for whatever reason. But we have come, all of us, and we need to stand up and just make sure before it gets out of hand. We thank you, all the participants this evening. We appreciate you. We thank Barrister Nina for being there every time for all of us. She's done a great job in her private world, in the public world. She's doing so much. And I know all of us too, we'll be making our contributions. We thank so much, Madam Oajia Rukayat. We really do appreciate you. You have you have educated us so much this evening, and we pray that God the Almighty will continue to be with all of us, so that we'll be better at everything we do, and we'll be able to take care of our mental health, so that we'll be mentally more stable than we are, and we have less mental challenges in our society, so that all of us will be better. I thank you so much for being here today. And in the next 2 weeks, I mean, exactly 2 weeks from now, Sunday of the fortnight, we are coming together again. Please invite your friends, your family members. Let us make the sacrifice to create time. We are not being paid for this, but we are making the sacrifice with our time because we believe in what we do. We appreciate your support because once in a while, if I regularly, we also we buy data for people. So if you have any means of supporting, we really appreciate. For those who cannot afford to buy data, we give them data. And then we expect that you'll be part of the workshop that we're going to have in Abuja very soon. So, Felix, in the absence of nothing, we should just close the program. Are we on the same page?
Oh, sure we are. So we're looking forward to hosting.
Hi. Could I ask something, please?
Okay, sure.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please. What are we talking about in the next 2 weeks? What's the topics going to be on?
A fantastic question. I'm suggesting that we should deal with the guts to brain. Somebody started the topic like 2 weeks ago, and she didn't have sufficient time to complete it. And I believe that we can handle it from there, because all of us eat food, and we may not just be eating the right food or in the right way, and then we have mental challenges. Our children, parents, old ones, the young ones, the active ones. That's my suggestion, though. But when we meet later, that's why I said we should form a group. We can now actually suggest whatever we think is germane at this very time, because we have avalanche of topics to talk about, and we can't do all at the same time. So that's my suggestion. Felix, what do you think about that? Mr. Clement is there. What do you think about that? In a few minutes, we can actually talk about.
I think we've actually got a number of requests on specific topics that people are
replying now. Okay, fine. So let's go for the most popular. Yeah, we're listening to you. We are listening to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Omar Manogi. I'm a medical doctor. I kind of joined in a bit late. I joined in with a device that the powered out. So I used another phone. The issue of depression, which is one of the items under mental, because mental health is a broad thing, and then depression, the other mental issues. So mental health, depression is one of the issues that we talked about. In the process of the discussion, I couldn't make out whether we're talking about mental health as a broad spectrum or we're just talking about depression. Maybe I think it's about the point I joined in that I kind of mixed things up.
Doctor, I think you missed so much because we're not fully in. You missed a lot. We talked about the different types of mental problems, mental challenges, and depression is just one. They've actually taught us that so many of them. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, we had a specialist that talked about the different types of mental ailments, and depression is just one out of the numerous ones. So we will definitely, because it's a program that we are not going to end, to the glory of God. It's a continuous thing. So we'll be dealing with that.
Fantastic. Thank you for the clearance, and I also enjoyed the contribution from Onabanjo, Rukaya, and Dr. Nina, right? And I think everybody who contributed had something beautiful to say, and then something we could take home with. I did make a comment that because borrowing what you said, that little drops, matters, Yeah. Let's not think that we're small here and we can make impact. There are several issues that were raised here. If we start talking about them now, we won't leave here. And then what Prince Felix also said, he rounded it up with a lot of good pointers from legislative, the arms of government and all that, which were very key to, making mental health receive its positive support here in Nigeria. I just want to thank everybody. It's a good place to retrain and refresh our minds and all that. So I'm looking forward to what we'll be discussing in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
2 weeks time. And
Yeah,
before
you said
2 weeks,
fortnight.
feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, feel free to give us your advice or comments behind the scene. And then, of course, to all of us, we can just visit our website, www.puwi.org. That's Puwi, PUWI.org. So you can always make comments. You can always connect online anytime. Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you all. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We do appreciate. God bless you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you very much, all. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
What else?